Welcome back to Rimanov Zdruj European Youth Team Chess Championship. We have a special guest in our studio, Adrian Mikhalchishin, Ukrainian Grandmaster, now playing for Slovenia. But here as a...
Not playing anymore, sorry.
Not playing anymore, not active, but
yes.
Here as a trainer of the national team of Turkey.
Yeah.
My first question, I have an opportunity to play in Turkish league, and I observe huge development of chess in Turkey. You have a huge experience with cooperation with the Chess Federation in Turkey. What would you say is the secret of such a huge progress of chess?
Investments, simple investments. They invested a lot of money. They were able, Turkish Federation, to via Ministry of Sport and via their main sponsor, Turkish bank İşbanka, they were able to get very huge financing for all projects. And from Ministry of Education, project chess in schools, in which they introduce chess to 1,100 kids every year. And they simply took the best trainers to train their team, youth, women, men's teams. They took best trainers. Even now, for example, very successfully training Turkish men's team is Polish Grandmaster Michal Krasenkov. So it's very simple. If you have enough money and you invest them cleverly into the, not into, into some project, infrastructure project which are not clear, but into the, let's say, human beings, into their players, into the development of the players, of course, in some moment you will have quite good team, which now was among top six in the world. So there were 6 on the Olympiad, 6 on the World Championship. So huge results, and they are very ambitious. They want to do more. Simple like that.
You are with no doubt one of the best trainers in the world. So the question I have to ask you is, who can be a good trainer? What would you call I think
good trainer, yes, it's very difficult to explain, but there are all characteristics are typical for trainers, not just chess trainers, to good teachers, to good educators. Everything is common. First of all, love for their job, love for education, and love for kids, especially because it's necessary to do everything best for the pupils, and to think. First of all, with chess players there is some problem, because top players is either characteristic to other sports. The top champions, best world champions, they cannot become good trainers because they develop very individualistic approach to their own preparation, to their own play, or to everything practical, and it's very logical. It's very logical because if you want to fight for the best result, you have to be on your top of your power. You have to think only about yourself, only about your body, let us say, only about development of your technique, and you are becoming extremely individualistic. So best players, best sportsmen are not becoming best trainers in any sport, because main characteristic of the trainer, besides practical characteristics, knowledge of the let's say technique of the game, it's relations to the pupils, to do everything for the pupils and to think about them, you see, to think about their improvement, their development. So top let's say sportsmen, they cannot go back to this level. It's a general rule. So there are generally two characteristics. First of all, technique of the game, of anything, any sport, and second, let's say, this attitude toward the pupil, trying to help them in the best way.
I'm just curious, what was the last tournament with Grandmaster Adrian Mikhalchishin as a player?
No, as a player, I am playing still every year. I am playing Slovenian league. I was playing before some Austrian league, some even Turkish league, but Turkish league is very difficult because there are a few Nowadays there are a few days with 2 games per day, but before there were 4 or 5 days.
It's a long, tiring tournament.
Oof,
I agree.
it is terrible. For old players, it's terrible. To play 2 games, it's simply impossible for older players. Last tournament which I played, I think, very difficult. Difficult to say. Tough question. Yes, for the Slovenian national team, I played last time in European Championship, team championship in Göteborg, 2005, I think. Yes, 2005. Then from 2006, I became, let's say, I could not share because when I was playing still for Slovenian national team, I was trainer of Slovenian women team at the same time, so it was possible somehow to share this job, and I was managing. But after I stopped working with Slovenian national women team, I started to work with Netherlands teams, and I worked with Turkish team. It was not possible simply.
So when and why did you decide to share your knowledge with the other players?
Look, I was always doing some let's say trainers work. And I was, on the start, I was a second for my friends, Oleg Romanich and Alexander Bilavsky, whom I helped to Soviet Championship, interzonals, let's say other tournaments. And then from that moment, I started to understand how to help other players, to share my knowledge with them and to get for them to make best results. And from 91 to 96, I was training Anatoly Karpov. I was in his team. And generally, from this moment, it developed because I was there. I shared my knowledge with such great trainers as Efim Geller, Igor Zaitsev. It was fantastic experience for me, not just working with Karpov, who was really a fantastic player at that time, but most of all for me was interesting cooperation with these great trainers like Efim Geller and Igor Zaitsev. And we were young trainers with Sergei Makarichev and me, and we got a lot of experience from them, and then we started to train national Soviet team, and we had fantastic results. We were together winning with Makarichev world champions, European championships, so it was immediately our let's say, cooperation with Geller and Zaitsev immediately gave us really great results as the trainers.
Can you compare the satisfaction between winning a game, winning a tournament, and having a huge success as a trainer?
Of course, in chess as in sports, everything is about success. If you win, you are on the heaven. But if you lose, you are very much down. And the task of the trainer is, in all cases, first of all, I always I'm working with different trainers in other sports, and I share knowledge. I mean, psychological knowledge, how to work with the players, with individuals, with sportsmen, how to work in different stress situations. And it was one of the trainers of Ukrainian hockey team. His name was Bogdanov. He told that wins simply shows you that you are on the good way, and losses teaches you what not to do. Simple like that. So all these things has to be taken by the trainers in the technical way to understand if your people are winning, you are on the good way. If they are losing, you have to do something differently.
You are the FIDE Trainer Commission chairman since 2009, I believe.
Yes, 2009. Yeah. Many years. So soon it will be 10 years.
Who is the trainer seminar dedicated for?
Look, first of all, there were two opinions, not just in FIDE and in many federations, that there are two ways how to develop chess. How to develop chess. First idea is that it's necessary to develop chess in the organizational way, and for this purpose it's necessary to educate arbiters. It is very serious, yes, very serious circles are, let's say, promoting this theory. And second is, which is absolutely correct in my opinion, is to, let's say, to prepare, to educate teachers and trainers. And it is the most important way of development of chess, in my opinion. It is clear it has to be like that, not preparing arbiters, but educating trainers and teachers. And of course, in the Eastern Europe, for example, it was old tradition of old trainers. Let's say there were even some courses in Soviet Union. There were chess, let's say, chess faculties, even in some sports universities. So the level of chess educators was quite high. But on the West, it was very poor because in every sport it was necessary to get some, let's say, some education and some certificates from the sports authorities. But in chess, it was simply trainers, players who wanted to earn some money. They went to some clubs and they simply trained without any special, let's say, pedagogical knowledge, because they had some knowledge of technique, but still it's not enough, because one thing is to have this knowledge, another thing is to be able to transfer it to your pupils. And it was a big task, and it was very difficult to convince FIDE that we need to create trainers commission and we need to educate trainers. Not just education doesn't mean just trainer seminars. Education means preparation of the materials for them, because most urgent problem in chess world is that there is lack of programs for education to help trainers to educate kids, simply to hold lessons. Yes, we don't have these materials generally. It's just some trainers are preparing for themselves, but we don't have universal materials for training programs as other sports they have, and we don't have. It's shame for us, but of course it's necessary to let's say, to invest a lot into this business. We were talking with FIDE, but FIDE for some reason decided to give money instead of education of trainers, to give money to chess in school. There were money from Rosneft. It was around $1 million, and the money went somewhere, nobody knows. So okay, it's life like it is. What can we do? We have to do our best, and we decided that it's necessary to activate education of trainers, to make as much seminars as we can. We had agreements with different federations, with some sport, with Olympic Committee, some fund which helps us to make seminars on the continental and world youth championships. We want to do it as cheap as possible, because when trainers are on some competition, we try to make seminars as they don't need to pay extra money for travel, for accommodation and so on. It's very useful for trainer to be, because trainers, when the players are playing, trainers are forbidden to enter the playing hall. They have 2-3 hours free time, so our theory is study, guys. And we became quite successful. We have around 50 seminars nowadays per year on every continent. And we have now army. We have army of 5,000 trainers. So it's a very powerful army, I must say.
So how often does FIDE organize the trainer seminar?
Generally, FIDE is not organizing trainer seminars. We just conduct with our trainers. We have a group of lecturers. We conduct. We have all materials, everything prepared for seminars. But seminars are conducted generally by the national federations or some organizers which want to do it, which have, let's say, which have either the idea that they need education for their trainers. Nowadays, for example, very strong, it's very important about trainer certificates, very important question and very difficult question. It was in some period, because there are many ministries, in some countries, sports is, let's say, ruled by National Olympic Committee. There are special demands for trainers' documents, for trainer certificates. And it was, let's say, not an easy task to use our certificates, that these countries, these Olympic committees are accepting it. And it was very big, let's say, problem for us to start it, and we started it successfully. And now every year more and more countries are accepting, I mean ministries of sport, they're recognizing our certificates as trainers, sport trainers in the same way. So it was big success for us. Recently, just for example, Croatia accepted it, Serbia accepted it, before it was Slovenia. Now we have talks with some other countries like Germany. We are trying to push Germany to accept it, and we are very successful. But I must tell you, when we started this work 15 years ago, 15 years ago, Olympiad Bled, with first chairman of Trainers Commission, Yuri Razovai, we were much more, let's say, not optimistic, but we expect it will be much faster. But it took quite a lot of time, 15 years, and now after 15 years we have army, 5,000 trainers. So what we can say? We expected more, we would like more, but still this quantity is huge success, as I must tell. So we have to be, let's say, happy and satisfied with our efforts.
Nowadays it's getting more and more popular to do an online courses.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to do the trainer seminars online? It would make easier to get
Of course, it's much cheaper. Our task is the trainers, let's say trainers are not rich people, and to make all these services to make as cheap as possible. Okay, FIDE has own ideas, and they decided that, for example, for title of FIDE senior trainer, trainers have to pay the same amount as for international grandmaster. But on the other side, it's very good, because it is FIDE opinion that level of FIDE senior trainer is the same as international grandmaster. So from this point of view, I think it's nothing wrong. Of course, we consider it a bit too high. This, let's say, fee for this title, 300 euros. But on the other hand, trainers, it makes easier for trainers to earn money with the title now in many countries, as it is. These certificates are, let's say, accepted by many ministries and many Olympic committees. And it was a problem for us because we needed different platforms. And from this year, finally, we started. We started in two ways. First seminar was with Chess Base. We made it, I think, in April. Then we made it with a young team of Chess Evolution, young grandmasters Naidic, Bakro, and Csaba Balog. They created Chess Evolution company, which publishes books. And they created trainer site for trainings. And we started to use this site. We had one seminar in June, and now we will have another seminar. So I think maybe from next year we will have every month we will have one online seminar for trainers to reduce their costs.
What would you say about this tournament, about the organization of the event?
Yes, this event is very important for us in European Chess Union. As I am member of the board of European Chess Union, it's very important for, I wouldn't say for many of us, because individual European championships, they are established and they are quite successful. A lot of players are participating, but this tournament, in my opinion, it has to be one of the most important tournaments. But we are increasing quantity of participants. We are increasing quantity of, let's say, of interest. We're increasing to this tournament. But still, some countries like Russia, I personally could not convince our trainers, because as I told, we had army of trainers, and our army, we can somehow influence them that they would, let's say, follow some guidelines. Around 16 countries, it's minimum which we have. Our task is to have the same quantity as, let's say, European men's and women championships, around 35 teams. But European championships are once in 2 years, and this competition we have every year. So it is a bit different. But for future, we still believe that it has to be our main tournament, as our goal in European Chess Union is to develop, first of all, our future, our, let's say, juniors chess. And I must tell that if we have projects, we will probably vote this year in Greece on the Congress that it will be added to this competition teams under 12. So it will be much wider competition, and it will be even, I think, more successful. Okay, here in Poland is, let's say, I must say that conditions are really perfect. because everything is, let's say, prepared. Very professional organizers, especially Agnieszka Fornal is one of the best organizers in my opinion. So for young players, everything is here is great. Nature is great, so it's fantastic place, and organization is on the very high level. Maybe I have not been on all, I think, on all these championships. I was on most of them, but I must tell that the organization here is the best.
Does it mean it's possible to organize such a huge events in a small cities? Is it really not necessary to organize in huge metropolis?
No, not necessary,
opinions.
because for players, for chess players, even you know, this nature, it's most of the chess players are the boys and girls from the cities, and for them, you know, this nature is fantastic opportunity to touch this nature, you know. So it is. I think they have never seen such nature. Most of them, they are from. Okay, I know about my Turkish guys. They are from the big cities, so for them nature to go to the forest, for them it's some big experience. So I think it's really very nice place for the championship.
So my last question: what would be your advice for the trainers who works with young players, especially with progressing players? What should be the most important factor? Should they put most attention on openings, on psychological training? Of course, everything is very important.
Yes, everything is very important. Trainers has to work, take care about everything, about psychology, about how to react after losing games is very difficult problem for young kids. You know, many of them, they are crying after the game. Even Turkish Federation has some special psychologists on the championship, on the youth championship under 8 and under 10. They are special psychologists who takes care about crying boys and girls, you know. So it is extremely important subject. But there are two important things generally which trainers, I mean in technical work of trainer, of course, first of all classics, the correct use of classical games, and second is what is one of the basic, let's say, one of the basic elements of great Soviet chess school. It is, let's say, good analysis of the pupil's game, because with a good analysis, it's possible to teach correct understanding of the position and to understand and to eliminate mistakes. Because, you know, everybody, as in chess, our pupils are winning games because they're doing something better than opponent, and they are losing because they're doing something worse than opponent, and they have typical mistakes which are repeating. So if it will be possible through analysis of the games to eliminate some of these, even one or two typical mistakes, those the results are becoming much higher, and every trainer is ambitious, so every trainer wants that his pupil is winning. So it's very clear. Chess players are ambitious and trainers either. So trainers, what is the trainer's result? Trainer's result is his pupils. Without pupils, there is no trainer. Trainer, in reality, what we can say, what is a chess trainer? Trainer is his pupils. If he has good pupils, he is a real trainer. If he has no pupils, it's a problem.
Thank you very much for your visit. I wish good luck to your team.
Thanks. And good luck for you.
It was a
for
pleasure
nice comments. Okay, bye.